Dollar Store. Oh yeah, Alan Lang watching Top of the Flare. Movie and TV show reviews that you need. Film threats on fire, we're planting the seeds. Film threat, we keep it real. Dive into the stories, you know the deal. Turn the phone, it's the place to be. Movie lovers gather round. 1, 2, 3. From blockbusters to indie gold. Oh yeah, Chris and Alan break the mold. Pop your corn, turn down the lights. Get ready to groove through movie nights. Film threat, we keep it real. Dive into the stories.
Happy Friday, everyone. What are you doing? It is the opening day for Captain America Brave New World. So many of your favorite characters are returning in the movie. There's Falcon. Alan Ng is also returning from his vacation at Disney World in Florida, and he attended MegaCon and was at the Geeks and Gamers meetup. We will talk to him very shortly. But I'm happy to see you. Let's go. Let's start the show. Lots of movies to review, along with Cap. We have Paddington in Peru. We've got the Gorge. I saw Dogman. That's right. And I'll tell you why I saw Dogman. Let's get things going. Your chat, comments, and questions. I'm happy it's Friday. And to everyone out there, I say a happy Valentine's Day or a happy Singles Awareness Day. That's right. It is also sad. It's sad for some people out there. Let's go. He is out there somewhere. Where is he? Oh, I know who can find him.
Alan, I've been looking for you myself. Alan.
Hey. We're here.
Okay, you're in Florida. Where are you? In a bunker?
Yeah, kind of. I'm at the hotel. I stayed at the Port Orleans French Quarter, if you're familiar, over at Disney Springs. I'm at the bus stop because it has the best internet reception. So there's the bus to Magic Animal Kingdom right there.
Nice.
And so just ending. I'm actually gonna leave on the plane right after our live stream here.
Wow, that's great. Well, first of all, thank you for doing it. It's great. One thing I want to make clear, I did not miss you at all.
Oh, good. That's all right. Believe me, I wasn't thinking of you during the trip.
Yeah, not at all. Even though you were tweeting constantly, I saw you on X. I like all your tweets.
Yeah. Well, you're in line for an hour. The only thing you can do is tweet at that moment.
There's dead time. Let's say hi to people. First of all, Suns and Shadows says, "Hail chat, happy Friday." Thank you, Suns and Shadows, big supporter of the channel. And we have a lot to cover. I have a bunch of news stories at the top. We will get to Cap in about half an hour. And we have other movies to review. And we have an interview today with a filmmaker behind the documentary Hobby Hustle. Alan will leave us before the interview.
Yeah.
I want to let you know that we got a jam-packed Friday show. So thank you so much. And Lord Thaw says, like, share, subscribe. Hit that bell for notifications. Sign up as a member and join us on X, Discord, Rumble, and Instagram. The Instagram is on fire lately.
Yeah,
Truly, it is.
I love it.
And buy our merch at shop.filmthreat.com. Here it is. You can get the very shirt I'm wearing now, our very patriotic America Film Threat shirt, along with our Oscar collection. Look at this. I like the Drinker's Choice. That is my favorite shirt. It's my favorite shirt. Where's this? I know you have the American.
I do. I'm wearing the Krull shirt.
I love Krull.
Yeah.
I love Krull. So it's a sort of classic sci-fi fantasy. It's a mix of sci-fi fantasy. Here we go. Our free to be indie American flag shirt. So America. So it's in keeping with today's theme. Okay, lot to get to. So I want to start off with saying happy Valentine's Day to everyone, or Singles Awareness Day. And I have a video to show. I think this will help Alan. This is because I do, I care about Alan and his health and well-being. And from our friends at the Found Footage Film Festival, this is an instructional video of how to flirt.
Do you want to learn how to flirt? What is flirting? Is it eye contact? Is it touching? Is it smiling? I'm Dault Prince. Join us for flirting. How to do it right. A class on flirting. What is flirting? Give me some words that define flirting. Blank. Playing. Chuck? Having fun. Another word.
Sex.
Sex is flirting. Not all the
Sex
time.
is
We're gonna
flirting.
talk about that.
Sex
First
is
thing that a
flirting.
woman can do is wear props. Now, what's a prop? Well, a puzzle. What's a prop? Come on up here.
Oh my God.
Show us your props. Do you see what she's wearing? These are pencils. Now,
Then if they want my number, I just
She's wearing pencil earrings?
Terrific. That's terrific. So wearing props. What's another prop? That's the best. What's another prop? A brooch, a pin. What else? A real unusual necklace. Men tend to preen when they get in a certain situation, almost do a Johnny Carson where they fix the tie. Preen for us, Andy. Preen. Hey, very good.
Oh my
That's good. That's very good, Andy. show our group here how you would lick your lips. Thank you. Okay, go.
What are you reading?
Oh, the Wall Street Journal stock section.
Do you read that all the time?
Well, pretty much on a daily basis.
Oh
What is
no.
that?
I'm just trying to follow my investments.
Oh, do you have a lot of investments?
Oh, yeah.
Really?
Yeah, I'm very rich.
I don't want to hear about your ex-wife or your ex-husband. I don't want to hear about your children. Don't talk about scars or
I like to talk about
operations. Nobody
scars.
wants to hear about that. You did terrific. Give yourself a big hand.
Yeah, body count is
Oh
a good
my-
thing to talk about.
Oh, okay. All right. Well, look, Alan, some of those skills, lick your lips, use props. Do you flirt with your wife?
I don't have to anymore. That's the whole point. I don't have to date anymore. I don't have to, it's so much easier nowadays now that you're married, you know.
Well,
How
I
about
mean,
you, Chris?
Well, I live in Los Angeles, so I would not wish dating in LA on Hitler because it's that bad. It really is that bad.
Well, I think
So-
everyone wants to know what your best preen is. What's your best preen?
Oh,
Yeah.
there you go. I'm preening right now. How'd I do? How'd I
Oh,
do?
yeah.
There
I'm
you
in
go.
love.
All right. Hey, I want to hear about your Disney vacation and what you're doing. Tell us. I mean, you went away for 2 weeks,
Yep.
and to be fair, I don't think in 3 years you've ever taken a vacation.
No,
So-
this is and I still have done more of these shows than you have. So
Yeah.
Uh,
Well, what's that sound in the background?
that's the bus.
Great. That'll happen the
know.
whole show.
And,
But
periodic.
tell us, like, I keep seeing research that says Disney adults are stunted children. But tell us about your vacation while I show you some little graphics.
Yeah. So basically, I've been here for 2 weeks. This was actually a gift from a friend because of my wife's medical condition. But first week spent it in at Universal Studios. We did the 2 parks there, Islands of Adventure, Universal Studios. Then did MegaCon, and then we did the 4 parks this week. And staying here. This is like I said. I don't know how much you want me to talk about it, but the sense I get is it's been a long time since I've been here. Last, my child was born the last time I was here, so we're talking 20 years.
Wow.
And yeah, and I will say that it's twice as expensive for half the stuff.
Wow.
Yeah.
Well, look, Here's a quote from Tim Dillon. Adults that vacation at Disney are stunted emotionally. I have a video that I can play where he talks about this on the Tucker Carlson show. Look at this.
Feelings about Disney?
Yeah, I do. It's terrible.
You think Disney's terrible?
I think it's become terrible.
I kind of agree with that, but I can't quite articulate why.
Well, it's lazy.
Disney's lazy?
It's like, when people take their kids on vacation there, it's like, I understand it, but there's other places to go that are real, that have actual history. You could teach your kids about the country. You could teach them about anything. You could teach them about things that have actually happened. I don't think Disney World is a terrible place to go, but you shouldn't be doing it every year. There's people that go every year. There's people that go without children. There's people that go
without children. Why
yes,
without children?
Because people are sick. I mean, there's this whole, there's this whole group of Disney adults, people that really enjoy Disney World. They meet their wives at Disney World. They meet their husbands at Disney World, and that yet somehow then not procreate. And they love it, and they say they remain children forever, and which I don't think is the goal of life. And yeah, I just think it's it's upsetting when I see it.
So it's like an emotional retardation that gets.
Yeah, you're looking at people that are stunted. They're unable for whatever reason to access other. There's a lot of art in America. There's a lot of literature. There's a lot of film. It's not all cartoons. It's not all Disney. Not to take anything away from a lot of the great Disney classics, but it's supposed to be the beginning of your journey and not the whole thing.
Well, Alan, what do you think about that?
Yeah, I can't not agree with him.
Oh,
it's true. I think from the story I've heard, the experience I've had, there's a big Disney fandom, and I will say a long time ago, 20 years ago, I was very passionate part of that. And then just like every other fandom that there is, it gets toxic. You can't, to disagree is a major battle point. And it's just, why can't we just enjoy it? I will say the best thing about my trip here as a Disney adult is I spent way too much time with my daughter, and we had a great time.
Well, that's a good thing. That's a good thing, spending time. That's,
Yeah, I mean, we were attached to the hip at every single park, in every single line, and just had a great old time. Yesterday, weirdly enough, Animal Kingdom became her favorite park, and she was just having a blast going through and experiencing all that stuff, which I would never have imagined. But apparently now she really loves animals.
Well, it's good to experience that in real life. Now, let me say, I'm worried about you in the cost of this vacation. This from the Wall Street Journal. Even Disney is worried about the high cost of a Disney vacation. Annual vacation budgets for families by income and typical spending for a 2-day Disney theme park visit. And the cost is insane. On the bottom, it's like $646, as high as $8,000. And this is a starting budget, premium passes, multi passes, fast food, table service dinner, character meal, hotel parking, park admission. Adding these things up, it is upwards of, if you're going to have a decent stay, $8,000. This is Wall Street Journal. It's based on 2023 labor data.
Yeah, I can speak to
on
that.
this and the cost.
Yeah. Okay, so I'll give you a comparison here. We were originally supposed to go to Disney World in 2020, so we were researching it, saving money. We had money put aside for it, and we looked it up. We could do 4 days at Disney with airfare for about $3,600. So that's airfare, hotel, tickets. All right. So, okay, it was like, let's plan that. Let's see if we can make it happen. And then the pandemic happened and it ruined everything.
Right.
So now today, I will tell you the cost of my stay here at Port Orleans, as well as 4 days of tickets. $4,700. Hotel and tickets.
How do you? I mean, I did have years ago. I had an annual pass for Disneyland. It was like 600, 700.
Yeah.
I upgraded to get the free parking, which was paid for itself. And I would go, it's a Tuesday. It's 3:00 in the afternoon. I'm going to go have dinner at downtown Disney. And then I'm going to go and ride Soarin' over California or over the world, whatever. And it was it was a value.
Absolutely.
You can't just buy a ticket now. You have to do a reservation. I do not understand it. And Fast Pass sounds like a good idea. You have to Fast Pass things. I find modern theme parks stressful. I prefer Universal. I can an annual pass is you can get for a couple $100. They have blackout days, but you can just show up for an afternoon, ride a couple rides, grab dinner. It's worth it. It's worth it.
Hey, let me speak to Fast Passes. So here,
please.
Here at Walt Disney World, it's lightning lanes, and you have to pay for it. So there are no Fast Passes. You buy. So basically, we did it once for I was gonna say Disney MGM for Disney Hollywood Studios. It was $18 for each of us to buy 3 Fast Passes. We were glad we did it, but we weren't going to do it for the other parks. And then for certain rides, for example, Rise of the Resistance, we had to do a virtual queue. So I had to wake up at 7:00 in the morning, get on the app, and get in the virtual. No, I'm sorry. It was for Guardians of the Galaxy, the roller coaster. Right. And then we did it again for Tiana's Bayou Adventure.
Oh God! How is that? That used to be Flash Mountain or Splash Mountain.
Splash Mountain. Sorry. Much as we
do not Google Flash Mountain Disney. do not.
At least, not safe for work. It was. Look, we all know the story of it. We all loved Splash Mountain. They didn't even tell the Tiana, the Princess and the Frog story. They made it a different story. I wanted to get a little soaked on the trip. That was the ride, and we did it. It was okay. All the robots were working, which is good. So,
did any rides break down while you were there? Like, because Rise of the Resistance routinely breaks down.
Yeah, I'll tell you, every ride we went on, with the exception of one, didn't break down. The only one that broke down was Expedition Everest, and we were stuck maybe for 3 or 4 minutes before it continued. So weirdly enough, when you go during non-peak hours, everything works, or non-peak months, non-peak area times of the year.
All right. Well, we'll get more of a breakdown next week on your vacation. Any final thoughts? And we're going to go to.
I have to say, everyone I met at MegaCon, I met a lot of people, and thank you so much. I appreciate you coming up and saying hi and getting a picture. It was a blast. You should have been there. Everyone was asking why you weren't there.
Yeah. Gary wasn't there either for tragic reasons. But I wish I could have been there.
Yeah, you were missed, and it was great fun. Got to hang out with the Geeks and Gamers gang. I think I mentioned had dinner with Steph and Ryan and Disparu and
that's great.
And X-Ray Girl, X-Ray Girl and Kara. So we had
your daughter, your other daughter.
Exactly. And then met everyone else. Valiant, I met Jonas, X-Wing and Echo Base.
And you are taller than everyone except Drunk 3PO.
Yeah. And I think Jeremy and I are the same size too. Same height.
Well, there you go.
Both Jeremys. Sorry, Jeremy and Jay,
Well, I look forward to your continuing Disney coverage because I haven't been there since 2019. I went to Galaxy's Edge, which I thought was lame. I wrote an article on Film Thread about it. I was so pissed off how bad it was. But I'm more of a Universal guy. I have a good experience there. You can buy booze everywhere in the park. It's pricey, but whatever. And there's other stuff to do.
Yeah. So, the Harry Potter land at both parks, amazing.
Probably one of the best theme parks. I thought Star Wars would be that, and it's not. So
Oh yeah. When we did Hollywood Studios, first thing we did was Rise of Resistance because I had never done it. We went there. It was right at the entrance of the park, and then we walked right out of Galaxy's Edge. So I don't even know what their Galaxy's Edge is like.
All right. Let's go to the chat right now. We have Krizik gifted 10 Film Threat memberships. Chris Stark, thank you for that, Krizik. Appreciate you. Chris Starkiller, a guy who makes a living telling jokes, telling people not to go to where they feel happy is weird. That's on Tim Dillon, what he had to say.
Oh, yeah.
So, be more better. Being a kid at heart and being immature are not the same. Fair. The Garth Knight returns. It's complex levels of retardation. Oh, and some stickers here. Day trippers for 50 of something. Regarding how costly Disney vacations are, Alan, is your friend single?
Yeah. No, he's not.
Well, there you go. M, hey M, happy V Day, my dudes. Thank you so much.
Happy
M.
Valentine's Day.
Appreciate you. From Erratic Bear for 10. My family is going to Disney in October. It will be my daughter's first time, but I think it will be a very long time before we go back. Not enough value for the money. Sticking with Universal. What are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, so like I said, I feel like I'm paying more for less. Compared to my trip 20 years ago, the add-ons are gonna kill you. The dining plan, it might have been worth doing, but we didn't wind up doing it. But we still spent a hell of a lot of money on food. And look, the photo passes. You buy it for the day or you buy it for the whole trip. It's like $80 or $200. And all we saw was really one photo that we wanted. We can't even buy it.
Ugh.
I know.
It's the worst.
There's so much upgrading here that just didn't exist, 10 years ago. It's frustrating.
The add-ons, the add-on industry, everything from airlines to everything. It's like, it's just made things. The baseline cost is here. It's happened in video games, DLC. You've got to buy money in a game to spend money. It's the add-ons is how they keep the base price low, but then just gouge you in the end.
Yeah. I still haven't gone to the airport. That's the last big expense is our luggage.
Yeah. And Alan, some of us want to know what you're munching on right now, says Krizik for 10.
I'm not. I sneezed.
You sneezed. Yeah, sometimes when Alan and I go off camera or mute ourselves, it's usually because we're coughing, sneezing, or like I have allergies, but I don't take medicine. So I just sort of blow my nose. I don't need you to see that. So not really anything interesting. I rarely eat on camera. I drink a lot of coffee though. So thanks, Chris. I appreciate that. All right, let's move to our next topic. Mark Hamill confirms Luke Skywalker is gay, which is not entirely true. He was asked about it in Vanity Fair a while ago, but William Shatner, our captain, oh my captain, had a comment about this, and it was trending on X. The debate over Luke Skywalker's legacy, Mark Hamill versus George Lucas, and the best comment came from Shatner. He screenshotted, Luke, I am your daddy. Of course, Luke Skywalker is gay, confirms Mark Hamill, echoing the thousands of fan fiction prayers. Readers added context. This is a 9-year-old article with a misleading headline. Hamill said, I'd say it is meant to be interpreted by the viewer. If you think Luke is gay, of course he is, meaning that it is up to the viewers to make up their own interpretations. But Shatner, Captain Kirk, had to chime in. He says, for those Star Wars fans who are trying to tell me Disney ruined everything, I assume you are referring to Mara Jade. Mark Hamill actually ruined it for you when he revealed Luke was gay. Mara being struck from Star Wars canon was part of her annulment agreement from the Force. I love Shatner. He is based. He loves to troll. And it's disheartening to me that that the legacy of Captain Kirk has been ruined or not respected by Paramount.
Or vanished from Paramount.
Vanished. Yeah. What are your thoughts on this? I think Mark Hamill is unhinged. I don't listen to him. I don't care about his political opinions. This is actually, it's one of those things where this resurfaced. Hey, Shatner resurfaced it, but it has begun this debate. What do you think, Alan?
First, I'm amazed that William Shatner even knows who Mara Jade is.
Right.
Yeah, the Buster shit up. The other thing is, I think Mark Hamill is fed up. I think he's just tired of all the trolling he gets from us, from anyone. And I think this is the final troll. Yeah, he's gay. And then just walks away and just lets everyone melt down from that.
But I do think the Vanity Fair kind of set him up. This is what the media does. Is this the gayest? Well, if you say it, it's like, when did you stop beating your wife? It's one of those questions that you're in a corner. Like, a lot of people in the media do happen to be gay and want to oddly turn everything gay. I think it's dumb, but whatever. And they bait, celebrities, interview subjects into addressing a non-issue. So,
well, it's mainstream media and the news has gone so far downhill that the only thing they can do is create clickbait titles, clickbait headlines.
Yes.
And that's why that question of, is this the gayest superhero film ever? That's why that got so much attention, because we talked about it. We talked about it ad nauseum. We're making memes, we're making T-shirts out of these things, and this is just another one of those. They need headlines that will grab viewers, whether it's true or not. It has to be provocative in order to get eyes.
Yeah, I think it's ridiculous, but I think there is a small segment, a minute but loud portion of fandom that wants to just turn every legacy character gay as a way to kind of get back at people for something. It's very, very, it's very juvenile, and I think it's ridiculous. And I don't remember ever having conversations like this. Is it raining now where you are?
No, that's the bus falling away.
I love it. It'll happen the whole show.
Absolutely.
That's great. Anyways, I can't stand this. I hate even having to talk about it. But I love.
We got suckered into it.
I do love Shatner, and he really embodied James T. Kirk. He will always be the manliest man in sci-fi, if you ask me.
Yes. So and we're there's a count in the Star Wars trial dedicated to William Shatner.
Exactly. Now, if you if you actually just go watch the Star Wars movies, you see that Luke Skywalker is motivated to go on his journey because he's attracted to a woman he sees on a hologram, a princess, who then he rescues. Then he kisses in Star Wars. He gets kissed again by her in Empire and gloats about it. If I just watch the movies, he's super straight. He is Jedi straight. He's as straight as an ignited lightsaber. So don't give me this BS, media. So
okay, Chris. Now that you brought that up,
because
the girl he kisses is his twin sister.
I know. That
and maybe that's what turned him gay.
Well, I'll tell you this: it's a dumb plot that they threw in the last, in Jedi, which was, I never liked that. I thought it was stupid. But anyways, all right.
Yeah.
Let's go to your comments here. Lord comment for 2. Happy V-Day, CG and friends. Mark Hamill is gay. Luke isn't. Makes sense to me. Lord comment again for 5. Only on social media can a 9 or 10-year-old tweet come back to bite you Funny how that works, isn't it? CG. Funny. Well, we turned it into a story here, so it's worth discussing. Scott Christie Jones, member for 11 months. Thank you for your support. Mark, Hamill tried to trick a woman into an abortion. I don't know the details of that, but I hear that could be accurate. Thomas Pickett for 5. We don't even know if sex even we don't even know if even sex even exists in Star Wars. Anakin's forehead could have touched Padme's forehead to knock her up.
Yeah. Is that how that happened?
Alan, has your bus arrived?
Yes. Another one has arrived. We'll deal with it.
Ron Enriquez, what about when you guys fart on camera? It is rare. It does happen.
Mm-hmm.
I will mute my mic. What about you, Alan?
Yes, I will desperately try and then tragically fail.
So you have farted on camera?
I may have. Let's just say that.
Geek Truth 64 for 2. Erasing Mara Jade is a top 5 Disney perpetration. It's getting rid of the EU. The EU was a colossal mistake.
Yeah.
Colossal. So thank you, Geek Truth 64. Okay, we have some movies to watch, but I have some more Disney news. We don't have time for this. We're going to save that one. But related to Captain America, Harrison Ford on playing the Red Hulk. We will get to our review of Captain America Brave New World. I have a lot more to say about it. We'll discuss it. But Harrison Ford did an interview where he talks about playing Red Hulk, and you have to see the video to believe it. It is very strange, I'll just say. Let's see, I have it here somewhere. But it's just, I mean, first of all, I have to give Ford credit. He did not phone in his performance as Thunderbolt Ross. He did not phone it in. He really went for it. But here he is in a 1-minute clip talking about playing Red Hulk. I'll just play it for you, Alan, if you haven't seen this, and react on the other side. It's pure Harrison Ford. So let's look at this. Here we go. Here we go.
How easily can you silence the part of your brain that says, I look like an idiot when I'm playing a Red Hulk? You know, the behind the scenes footage of this, you probably look like an insane human being.
I don't want to break your bubble, but that's what the money is for.
To silence that part of your brain.
Gone. Gone.
It's like magic.
It's not magic. It's commerce. No, but
yeah,
which is not to say that I'll take money for anything.
Sure.
No, I want to make sure that the trip I'm on is one that an audience will follow and want to follow, and something that they'll want to allow me to be involved in.
That being said, is it in your contract that they never release the behind the scenes footage of what you looked like playing?
Yes, who told you?
Just a guess.
Okay. I think, look, I respect Harrison Ford a lot. He's just telling the truth as an actor. I take the money, I do the job, that's it. Funny that Josh, the guy who did the interview, brings up, is it in your contract to not release BTS footage? You know that Chris Nolan also believes that he keeps, like, he doesn't want to embarrass his actors. He wants them to feel free on the set to, you know, go certain places, and that process, you don't want to embarrass your actors after the fact on a DVD extra or whatever. But and also, by the way, I think Harrison was high during that interview. I think he was high when he made the movie, and I would recommend maybe something to get you us to a place to enjoy Captain America. Yeah. We'll talk about it soon. Alan, your thoughts?
Well, let me comment by saying I appreciated the candor that Harrison gave in that interview. It felt real. It felt authentic. Like maybe he's not being held back by the studio or now, you know, it sounded like he was having fun with it. I think the same thing he was doing with the Dial of Destiny. I don't know if you guys talked about that last week, but just the admission that, okay, it wasn't the greatest. He made mistakes. He's the one who brought in Phoebe Waller-Bridge for that one. I appreciate that. In terms of, the money, yeah, look, if you're going to get paid millions of dollars to do something, you're going to, I guess you're contractually obligated to do the silly things and wear that mocap suit as a part of it. And the fact that that final scene where it's him without a shirt, that was very brave.
Yeah, and not only that, that was shown for a fraction of a second, him shirtless.
And we all saw it, and we all remember it. It's burned in our brains.
Not great, but that's I still love Harrison Ford in spite of Red Hulk. So
yeah,
there you go.
Yeah,
all right.
And I think the fact that the election is over just kind of loosened him up. So I think that helped.
Well, there you go. Let's go to comments here. I'm calling him Kool-Aid Hulk. Scott Christie Jones for £2. Watch Slow Horses, Severance, and Silo. All brilliant. By the way, I just re-signed up for Apple TV to watch The Gorge, directed by Scott Derrickson. I'll talk about it today. And I'm going to watch Severance and Silo. I watched Silo season 1. I'll watch season 2. So there you go. It's crazy how low the bar is for Harrison Ford these days, says ZG, who's a member. Thanks, ZG.
Yeah. Does he need the money? Is that what I'm hearing? Is that he needs the paycheck?
I don't know. Sometimes these older actors do need money to maintain a lifestyle. Yeah. They've got young girlfriends to feed.
Yes.
So there you go. The Chicago Box. Hey, thank you, Chicago Box. Harrison Ford agreed to play Han Solo in The Force Awakens, then played Indiana Jones in Dial of Destiny. So his credibility as an actor is questionable at best. I'll say this. I don't blame Harrison. I blame modern filmmakers and studios in pursuit of a modern audience.
Mm-hmm.
That applies to both those properties. Harrison's doing a job. So.
Yeah. And Captain America: Brave New World proves that it's not Harrison's fault the way the film came out.
Yeah, Lord Comet for 2. Gore watching The Gorge. Nice. We'll talk about it. I have thoughts. So, but we have to get to it. We had a lot more news stories, but we have so much to cover. We are going to get to our first review of the day. Paddington in Peru. Wait, how do we set this up?
It's there's a button. One of the layouts is set up for the poster. Yeah, there it is.
Well, there you go.
Yeah.
Thanks, Alan. Yeah. Appreciate you. Paddington in Peru is the third of the Paddington films. It brings back Paddington, your favorite bear, and an adventure that I would say is as much for kids as it is for adults. It's kind of a lot of British humor. Alan, tell me about Paddington in Peru.
All right, so Paddington in Peru is kind of an origin, not really, but Paddington is living in London with family, and he gets a letter from his Aunt Lucy, who's kind of secluded herself. She lives out in Peru at a home for retired bears, and she's just feeling kind of despondent, not really responding to people. And the nun at the church, played by Olivia Colman, says, she wants to see Paddington, her nephew, and writes a letter to the family. And the family decides that they're going to go bring Paddington to Peru and then do an adventure as a family, because the father needs to be a little more less stuffy if he wants to succeed in life. And so they go off to Peru, find out that the aunt had wandered off. So now Paddington is on an adventure to find his aunt. There's a treasure map. There's a boat captain played by Antonio Banderas who may have ulterior motives. And what about that nun played by Olivia Colman? Is she on the up and up? Well, that's Paddington. Can Paddington find his aunt? The adventure begins.
Well, look, I know that the second Paddington film is beloved mainly because of Hugh Grant. And Hugh
Absolutely.
Grant does have like a bit in this one scene. So he is in the movie, but not as it's a cameo basically. I really enjoyed this. It was harmless. It was it's one of those movies where, because I saw a lot of movies that were for kids when my kids were little. And I'd say most of them were the ones that succeeded were ones where like, oh, I'm seeing a whole different layer of humor, which was good. And there are some things in the movie that are kind of questionable. I like the dad and his sort of battle with the fear of spiders, and every little thing pays off. Olivia Colman is great as the nun. Like you said, has ulterior motives. He was really good. And I don't know, it's wholesome. It's, I don't think anyone that would go in the movie would hate this movie. I had a really good time, and Paddington is he's charming. He's charming. What did you think?
Yeah, I mean, when the first Paddington movie came out, my kid was right at that age, and she fell in love with it. It was the time that she wanted to see it, and I'm like, because I'm the good father, I'm gonna take her to see it, but I really wasn't looking forward to it. And what struck me was just how endearing Paddington is, and the storytelling. I would never have expected to like the series as much as I had. That said, I think this is probably one of the more beautiful of the Paddington movies, especially in the Peru area. In terms of do I like it, where does it stand? They're all pretty good. The second one is the best one in my mind, and but this one, it did what it needed to do. It was cute, had a good message, endearing. So I will definitely give it a recommendation for anyone with kids, and if you're a fan of the Paddington series. I would say this is probably the weakest of the three, but that's not saying a whole lot. Yeah, it's still very good.
Yeah.
And yes, number 2 is the best because of Hugh Grant.
Yeah. Well, again, he gets a bit part in here, so there you go. I'll just say I recommend it. It's not like a number rating. It's like if you like this kind of thing, if you like Paddington, you will enjoy it. And I got to say, with the offerings in theaters now, what can I say?
Let me put it this way. It's a kid's movie. If you have kids, go see it. If you don't have kids, you will probably not enjoy it as much. It's not something I would say you have to see this. It's made for everybody. I think as parents, it's good enough to sit through and enjoy and have fun. But, it's not like I'm taking something really away from it as an adult.
Yeah. And Ben Whishaw as Paddington is really good. And I love Emily Mortimer. She's great.
Yeah, and the father, I keep forgetting his name.
Yeah, the actor who plays the father is Hugh Bonneville.
Yeah,
as Henry Brown. And it's just every single thing in the movie pays off, which is great. The son who wants to just sit and play video games, he has all these inventions, those pay off. So it was a lot of fun, and nothing woke about it, like zero. Just good time at the movies. So a recommend from me. So there you go.
Yeah, and me too.
All right, let's go to the chat and get your comments here on Paddington. Lord Comet for 2 says Paddington is just the British version of Ed, which is why he's so polite. So
yeah. Although it's polite raunchiness. Yeah, here.
Yeah, mute yourself when there's like a bus coming by. It's okay, Alan. It's all good. I'm just happy Alan's here. I'm happy Alan's here. Mike MC Wong, Antonio Banderas used to be what Pedro Pascal is right now. True. Ololique, I see that nun with the guitar and I think of Airplane. There is only one river. She's great. Olivia Colman is really good in it. So enjoyed her in the movie. The Chicago
and
box,
she has a guitar in it.
She does have a guitar.
And a song, yeah.
The Chicago box, it's Paddington. He's a rascal and gets into an adventure. Kids will love it. Yes, they will. Recommend from me. All right, pivoting to Captain America Brave New World. If we can get that up here.
Look,
Now-
Paddington 2, Paddington in prison. I mean, that's a winning plot line right there.
There we go. It's time, Alan. We talk about Captain America Brave New World. Dante James, our friend from Verbal Riot Show, did a reaction and a non-spoiler review. Warning, we will be doing spoilers. Everything's on the table. The movie has been released. So if you do not want to hear spoilers, you can bug out now. I get the feeling no one cares. But I have given my thoughts. Alan, I want to hear what you think of Captain America Brave New World.
Well, I'll tell you what I liked about Captain America Brave New World. So the Celestial Isle from Eternals, that's where they find adamantium. The world knows about it, or at least the world's leaders know about it. And I like this intrigue and the idea that there's this island with this valuable substance. And now you got to figure out who owns it. What country owns it? Should we be sharing it with other countries? And so now there's this political intrigue that goes on, and I really like that. But I wish the movie actually addressed all of that. This is the problem with this Captain America, because the first two had themes. They had themes that had global ramifications, geopolitical ramifications. This one, the geopolitical ramifications of a substance out in the middle of nowhere that everyone has the rights to, is merely backdrop to this story. The story is essentially Sam trying to prove himself to be Captain America, and you have these plots that just kind of build upon that. The thing about this movie is it fails at the story level. The story is just so thin that it is not a Captain America movie. It is barely a superhero movie. It is a movie that just moves you from action to action. Who set off all the super soldiers to try to kill and assassinate the president and the world's leader? Well, that's the story of Captain America. Who did it? So that's a Disney Plus show. That's not a movie. That's not something you spend hundreds of millions of dollars on. The biggest problem, aside from the story I have, is all the supporting characters. Who cares about them? Who cares a single thing about them? Maybe Joaquin as Falcon, as the new Falcon, we care about. But let's take what's the name of the Israeli head of Secret Service?
Sabra.
Ruth. Yeah, Ruth. Sabra. Ruth.
Yeah.
Okay, so she's a former Black Widow. Sorry, just spoiled it. She's a former Black Widow. There is so much you could have done with that. And yet, the only reason they make her a former Black Widow is to justify her ability to take down 300-pound men from an 80-pound girl.
She looks so small. The believability. I thought she was a child, right?
Yeah.
When I first saw her, she's so tiny. She's skinny. She's smaller than your daughter. Alan, seriously.
Yeah. No,
not...
go. I posted on X a video of her at the premiere in this dress, and my comment was, I bet mommy and daddy are proud. She looks like a 12-year-old even in that, and she looks like one here, and her stature is small. I mean, I hate to say it, but I feel like she starved herself in this role. Her stature is small. It's hard to really believe the things that this character could do. I mean, if that was Scarlett Johansson doing those things, you'd believe it. I just didn't believe with her. And again, all they did was, excuse me, all they did was say that she was a Black Widow to justify it. They didn't deal with, if I was making her a former Black Widow, I would also deal with some of the mind control that was going on there, especially when this movie is about mind control. So that was a very weak character. The other one was the president's, Harrison Ford's president, her the Secret Service, I think it was Colonel Taylor. I forgot what her rank was. But it was a Black woman who was protecting her, black woman, fine, whatever. But what do you know of this character other than she's supposed to look strong and menacing at times? There's no character development. You know, this character serves as one role, to stand there and look tough. That's not how you build characters. And throughout this film, it just felt like all these side characters were just there to push on the plot, to move the plot along. The action was there to just move the plot along. And then you guys talked about it during the week. What is Bucky's powers? I'm sorry. What is Sam's powers?
He doesn't have any. He's a regular. I mean, very good soldier. I'm sure he's very strong. Right. I gotta think that to wield the shield, you know, you've got to have some strength. The vibranium shield. There's got to be something to that. And you can't just show, you don't gain superpowers from a training montage. This movie is season 2 of Falcon and the Winter Soldier. And you know what? A lot of people did not watch that. A lot of people, the last time they saw Falcon was at the end of Endgame when Captain America handed him his shield. A lot happened in season 2. I didn't finish the series, although I watched a couple recaps. So I do know what happened. But I'm sorry. He's didn't earn. You can't make it just a mantle. You can recast Cap. You can't take a different character and call them Cap. You can't, at the end of a 9-film saga, call yourself Skywalker and be a Skywalker. What makes Rey a Skywalker? You know, I don't know who Sam Wilson is. Who is he? I know who Cap is. Cap is the kid, skinny, gangly kid who would fight a bully twice his size and say, I can do this all day. Cap, Steve Rogers, is a kid who would jump on a grenade to save people around him. This is before he got the super serum. I don't know who Cap is. And I've said this before. One last thing. I've said this before. What made Marvel great as in the comics? What has made early Marvel movies worth seeing? It's all built on character. Peter Parker, Steve Rogers, Tony Stark. We know who these people are. We know what they would do in certain situations. The characters are so well defined. And that's what Marvel did great in the comics. That's what made them stand out in the 60s against DC Comics. It's what made the movies, the early Phase 1 and so on, early Marvel movies worthwhile because they were focused on characters. That's why Kevin Feige very wisely hired indie film directors whose strengths were character, and he knew that Marvel Studios could build spectacle around character. I don't know who Sam Wilson is. I don't know who he is. And then you have his new sidekick who wants to be the new Falcon. These are not the mantles. Mantles don't work. You can recast James Bond. You can recast Bruce Wayne, Batman. I don't think a mantle works in storytelling. It didn't work in the comics. It doesn't work here. We've been light on spoilers. I want to get to spoilers, but
let me respond to that. Let me respond to everything because this is the inherent weakness of the story of Captain America: Brave New World. Steve Rogers embodied Captain America. That's why he was Captain America. The problem is Falcon and Winter Soldier, Captain America: Brave New World. The story is Sam trying to become Captain America. It's the difference between meritocracy and DEI. Steve Rogers was Captain America, therefore he is Captain America. Here, they needed Black Captain America, and so he has to aspire and become Captain America. And so he's constantly working his way to become Captain America. And that's the problem with it. Because let's assume, no spoiler here, but let's assume that the events of Brave New World is what sets Sam as Captain America. That's the problem is the story now is we follow Sam and we sympathize with him. We want him to become something. So we sympathize, we hope, and we pray, and we urge that finally Sam becomes it. Versus Steve Rogers, who was Captain America. That's a character we aspire to be. And that's the difference between it. Steve Rogers was Captain America. We aspire to be him. In Brave New World, we sympathize and hope and empathize that one day Sam will become that role. And those are two stories, very different stories. And one is what modern day storytelling is that we don't see heroes. What is a hero? We don't see heroes in the movies. We see people we empathize with, we sympathize with. And to me, that's very weak storytelling. Because, again, the whole point of a hero's journey is that this hero walks the same walk we do. His weaknesses are tested. He overcomes those weaknesses and becomes the hero. And that's the human story. And that's the ones we gravitate toward. So we gravitate toward Steve Rogers. We don't necessarily gravitate toward Sam Wilson here.
And not only that, the story aspires to be Winter Soldier in terms of its conspiracy and intrigue. It's a simple-minded rehash of Manchurian Candidate. Someone pointed out it's the plot of Zoolander. It's an assassin who is activated by a song and a notification on a phone. It's so dumb. It literally is it's sad and dumb. So underwhelming, the story, and then all leads to someone behind the scenes who's manipulating things. Who is it? The leader, played by Tim Blake Nelson, who played the leader in 2008 Hulk film. So, oh my God, it's just embarrassing. And the reveal of the leader, Tim Blake Nelson as leader, is, I burst out laughing. He has his brain on the outside of his head. It looks like he took a head of cauliflower and added it to his head. It looks, or broccoli. He looks so dumb.
The special effects. The special effects were awful.
Across the board, awful.
No, but specifically with Tim Blake Nelson. It just felt like they put a green filter over him at times.
Like a light, not even the makeup. And not only that, like, okay, bad special effects. Let's talk about that for a second.
Mm-hmm.
You can have effects can be poor if you are so invested in the story and the characters are so good, you will ignore bad effects. If other things are not working, the bad special effects stand out. I'll give you examples. The very first 1978 Superman movie with Christopher Reeve. There are some really good effects, and there's some terrible model work in, like, with California and the earthquake. There's like stuff that looks just like a
obviously models.
But because the music, the characters, the story, you are invested. You don't notice bad special effects when story and character in music and all that is working. It's working. In here, the bad effects really stand out because those elements don't work at all. So so now you can talk spoilers, Alan. What'd you think of the leader? Betty Ross comes in for one scene in the end, like tacked on.
Well, there was a phone call. There was a phone call too.
Right. And by the way, a post-credit scene that at the very, very end of the movie that is meaningless.
Yeah, my daughter was screaming how much she hated that ending. That we stood all that time for this ending, and it was a big nothing. Oh yeah, just a couple things. The thing about the leader is it was when you finally got to the leader, the story was just badly managed at that point. Because there was an interesting thing with the leader. Because I don't know how many people really know what the leader is, who the leader is, or what his role. But in this role, it was basically a guy who can calculate every possible permutation of a decision you make and then pick out the one with the best odds. But that all just felt like it was thrust upon us quickly, quick exposition. When I felt like that there's a nugget of goodness in that idea that they should have played it out throughout the whole film. Knowing the fact that they've reshot this thing many times, it's clear they couldn't do it, and that they were throwing in these things at the last minute. Same with Giancarlo Esposito. You could just tell that this was tacked on, and that
it was tacked on in terms of like the scenes just seemed out of nowhere. He seemed like a cameo. He's in 2.5 scenes. He's wasted. He's not a threat throughout. It's kind of embarrassing. It's just horribly embarrassing.
I'm just saying the story killed this movie. The fact that the story was cobbled together like it was put together like a quilt. I think the foundation of the movie was so bad that all these rewrites just couldn't save it. And it just suffers from that.
Well, and not only that, it was the premise.
Mm-hmm.
Let's just say there is no mantle, and a couple other things, the effects, right? So I have this Ant-Man popcorn bucket from Quantum Media, and almost no one remembers this. And it's this cheap thing where Sam's powers are his suit, his wings, Cap shield, and an Ant-Man helmet where he clicks here and the helmet just appears. These Marvel movies are turning into Power Rangers films because every character now has it's lazy, a mask that appears. And I'm always in fear of they're going to lose the tip of a finger because it gets caught in the, it's so dumb. Here, I'm just.
Yeah. And then they throw in the, his suit is laced with vibranium. Everything they added on to the suit, I think they had to add on, before they wrote it, because of all the things this suit can do, like slice through metal and be a shield. And it just, I don't know. Look, when you make a superhero film, the point of doing it is you take a character with powers. Those powers have certain benefits, but there are also limitations / weaknesses to it.
Exactly.
And the whole point of the way you write a superhero film is you have a villain who understands the weaknesses of that superhero and then digs into that weakness. You say, okay. Yeah, and you dig into that weakness. This one, they just keep adding on more powers to him, more abilities. And I feel like it's all done to basically placate the plot. There's a point where he has to take down a jet plane. There's a point where he's going to get shot with bullets. There's going to be knives thrown at him. Oh, you want to talk about the Kevlar shirt he was wearing? The one that, when you stab him with a knife, the knife will go into your body, but because you are wearing the Kevlar shirt, it won't kill you. Is that how that works?
There were too many magic abilities thrown in. It was ridiculous. It was just, we see Cap struggle. Steve Rogers as Cap struggles, and you even see him physically. It's a physical performance.
Yeah.
Very physical. I like Anthony Mackie as Falcon. I've said it many times. Mm-hmm. He is not a good lead for this film. I'm sorry. And I don't see him as Cap. I see him as someone handed him the rank and the mantle, and that forget the story. The premise doesn't work. It didn't work at the end of Endgame. It didn't work for the Falcon and Winter Soldier series. It doesn't work in this movie. Now let's get to the act 3.
I want to say one more thing.
Yeah.
There's the jet fight. And because we know Cap can fly and Falcon can fly, they're flying around interacting with these jets, which makes me think, why build jets in the first place? Why not just strap people on with these suits and bypass the whole jet process? You could create an entire air force based on guys in these suits, because they do exactly the same thing that a jet does.
Yeah,
it's just, no one thinks, clearly no one in this who wrote this movie could step back and look at the overall picture and see and ask yourself, would this make sense in this world? Would that make sense in that world? And and that's the problem with modern day superhero writers. They don't understand superhero movies.
Yeah. And let's
Okay.
one last thing before we go to comments. Act 3, the climax of the movie, where Thunderbolt Ross, who's been taking these pills, they kind of projected everything is so predictable.
Yeah.
There
There's
are
so much
no
foreshadowing. There's so much foreshadowing in this movie.
foreshadowing. There's no surprises. This movie is really simple-minded.
Yeah.
he's
How come they
taking-
kept mentioning Betty throughout the entire movie? Okay,
Yeah,
go ahead.
Yeah, and then he's taking these pills that have gamma radiation, so he turns into Red Hulk in the end for a 7-minute fight sequence. That's it. Hulk is in the movie for 7 minutes, and that's it. And it's
And speaking of foreshadowing, I knew how he was going to stop the Hulk before even that battle was going to start.
You should stop being the Hulk. Think of your daughter Betty and the cherry blossoms. It was.
By the way, we just entered. Okay, never mind. We're in spoilers.
Yeah, no, it's
Go ahead.
just no, there's a spoiler warning. Nobody cares. It was so dumb.
Yeah, like there were 3 mentions of Sam being a former veteran counselor, and I'm like, oh my god, that's how he's going to stop the Hulk.
Yeah, exactly. And they did throw in a line of like, I know you could kill me with one punch, and then he was using these weird darts that I thought the other power, wings, shield, Ant-Man mask, and then he has these darts, and then he has drones. They literally threw in a million different powers to Sam to overpower and boost him. But
I will say that Adam
is bad. It's so he destroys Washington. He destroys Washington D.C.
Of course he does.
God awful.
Yeah,
it's god awful.
I was going to say, in terms of having a weapon for every occasion, let's not forget that Adam West Batman did that. His utility belt had.
But it was funny. But it was funny.
Yeah.
It was a gag.
Yeah, like he had a bat shark repellent in his bat suit at one point, and he happened to fall into the ocean with sharks.
Well, final thoughts, and we'll go to your comments.
Yeah, like I said, story killed this movie. No one. This is another example of the fact that modern screenwriters don't know how to tell stories anymore. Because I hate to say it, it's not like I've complained about this with other movies, with other modern movies, and it's that wish that maybe it would be beneficial to go back in time, look at the classic movies you loved, figure out why you love those movies and why those stories resonated with you, and then bring those elements into this story or those stories you're writing. And, fingers crossed for Fantastic Four. That's all I can say.
Well, Thunderbolts looks good by comparison. This movie is a 3 or 4 out of 10 for me.
Yeah, I gave it a 3.
3 out of 10. There you go. Yeah. And the review is on the Film Threat website. Is that right?
Yes, it should be there right now.
Oh, that's great.
I believe. Okay.
Cool. So yeah, a non-recommend from both Alan and I. And I'll say finally, the audience, who I saw with an audience of all critics who generally love everything, did not really like this movie. Barely an applause. The laughs were not intentional. There were a lot of laughs, but they were all like during not like the reveal of the leader got a big laugh.
Yeah. I will say that I saw it out here downtown Disney Springs. Shout out to Glenn Nuccio, who was there, and I missed him. Sorry I missed you. But the other thing was the other cameo. The entire audience melted down at that.
Well, that was the thing. Yeah, Bucky has a cameo, does a scene where he basically reinforces your Cap, and Bucky's now running for Congress, or he's a Congress.
Yeah, he's running for Congress.
It's ridiculous. So we're gonna leave it.
Here's the thing. If you're gonna watch this movie again, really note Bucky's dialogue, what he says. Yeah. Because for 90% of his dialogue, Bucky is responding to what Sam is saying. So it's like, yes, I understand, things like that. And then he gives a line, an inspiring line at the end, and then they end it with a joke, kind of deflating that line. That's again modern Marvel writing. Everything has to be a joke, even serious moments.
Well, this is low tier Marvel.
Yeah.
Low tier Marvel. And can't recommend it. Let's go to your comments. Lord comment for 2. I'm not seeing this crap fest, so spoil away CG. We just did. And going on, Lord comment, movie is bad. You get nothing, you lose. Good day, sir. Quoting Willy Wonka.
Yeah.
And Joe Chapman for £5. Thank you. Brave New World is timid old time. Falcon in a streaming movie would be good. A tiny woman talking down huge men again, because Widow, a no.
Yeah.
2 out of 5.
The way she spoke. Oh, go ahead.
Joe goes on to say no sexy women at all, by the way. Yeah.
The way she spoke, you can tell. Speak like you're tough. I mean, that's essentially the direction that the women in this movie got.
Bruce Leroy Jenkins for 2. Every time Sabra was on screen, it took me out. She looked like a kid. I can see why she's popular in Hollywood. 200-watt studio for 5. How old is Pugh's Black Widow and Red Guardian? Wasn't the Black Widow movie a flashback? That then Endgame's blip, and now what year is MCU in? 2028? Yeah, I don't know. Sam was best captured. We have. Go
ahead.
Geek Truth 64. Sam was best captured in Winter Soldier as a vet, helping other vets. Agreed. Bruce Leroy Jenkins for 2. I long for the day of practical location filming. Yes. Lord Comet for 5. Sam can find sympathy from me in the dictionary between shit and syphil. Okay. This movie is epic fail on so many levels. Love Ford, though Mackie can get lost. Andrew Cram, hey, thank you. Member for 12 months. Welcome back, Alan. And do not have interest in Captain America, Brave New World, but still cautiously excited about Superman. Bush and Ryu Cat for 10. Chris, Alan, right now you're making me cry with how negative you are towards Anthony's choice for his character. Love you both as a movie fans, but hate this take of yours. Tony wants to show we can all be Cap. Not sure I agree, but it's okay to disagree. It's fine. JWT6577 for 5. Impossible Chris, Power Rangers had straight romances. The best you'll get from Marvel is a guy and girl rubbing their foreheads together. That's true. Let's see. Day Trippers for 100. I'm that actress, minimal height. The most I can lift is a 55-pound bag of flour, and afterwards I'm useless. Her fighting 300-pound dudes is not a stretch. It's ridiculously unreal. Thomas Pickett for 2. Temu Marvel. That's funny. Bruce Leroy Jenkins for 5. Disney totally expected Trump to be in prison at this point. That's why they had Ross end up at the raft. Yeah. Geek Truth 64 for 2. Video kills the radio star and story kills this movie. Thank you. Volume Dealer 1. Chris, that diversity skit you showed this week is from Wonder Shows in 2025, an adult Sesame Street show with skits like puppets. Clarence, who asks Central Park joggers what they're running away from. Yes, I've seen that show. I have the box set. I'm going to go to other comments in a minute. I have one last. I have something else to share. Alan, it's very loud.
Yeah. No, I was just gonna say that final moment between Betty and Thunderbolt was cringeworthy. It was the capper, the perfect capper of this movie, to have that emotional scene and see it played like it played. All right.
Now let's look at this for a second. I want to share screen here. Captain America Brave New World is rotten. It's currently like 53%, but it is ranked 33rd out of 35 Marvel movies. That's right. We're going to go through them right here. You have top tier Black Panther at 96%. Okay. Number 1. Avengers Endgame, 94%. Number 2. Iron Man, solid, 94%. And number 3. Thor Ragnarok, 93%. 93%. Number 4, don't know about that. Spider-Man No Way Home, 93%. Number 5. Let's go to the bottom. What is that the very bottom of all the Marvel movies? I'll tell you what's at the bottom. At number
You gave it away.
35, Ant-Man and the Wasp, Quantumania,
Mm-hmm.
46% ranked 35. Eternals, 47% at number 34. 52% at number 33 out of 35 Marvel movies. Captain America Brave New World, 52%. Alan, your thoughts? We'll talk more
Where's
about
the
it.
Marvels?
The Marvels,
Where's the
is
Marvels?
right above.
Okay.
2%, barely fresh at number 32. Alan, your thoughts on the rankings here?
Yes, I will swap Eternals for Marvels. Let's put it that way.
Yeah.
You know, Black Panther, I do like Black Panther a lot, but Infinity War is the best one.
I agree.
You know.
I agree.
Yeah.
Infinity War, which ranks oddly, Infinity War. Whoa. Lower
Wow,
here.
really?
Where is
Really?
it? It's at number 15 at 85%.
Under Shang-Chi? Really?
Under Shang-Chi
Really?
and Ant-Man and the Wasp. This is weird.
Like,
I don't know if I agree
think-
with this. We will talk about this on Monday on Versus. What are your thoughts on this ranking?
Yeah, I don't know. I'm still trying to understand Rotten Tomatoes and how they do the rankings. I get it's by the scores, but there's got to be some weighting that goes on. I don't think they've ever really gotten it right to where it feels like, you know, in general it's right. But you know, I this list, they got the bottom ones right. Let's put it that way.
They got the bottom ones pretty accurate.
Yeah.
You know, I think they're pretty accurate. Let's go to comments here. Eva Carr says a Hulk movie wrapped in a Cap movie minus Banner and Rogers. True. Uncle Jimmy, spoilers are okay. Great. That midget girl was so unconvincing as a head of security. Every time she was on screen, she took me out of the movie. Overall, it was a decent movie, not great. Yeah, she took me out of the movie too. It was
I
like
hate to say it, but she did look like a midget in the way she stood. And I don't know if that was
like
costuming or.
And it was she was skinny, gangly. She looked like she was 12.
Mm-hmm.
So Laura Buckles, how much D+ homework do you have to do before you see it? Don't bother. Watch a recap video on YouTube if you care. Brother Quantum, Steve was the underdog with the pure spirit, which ties into American myth. Sam is a vet who's done bad things, a hero, but not the hero. I agree.
Yeah, the embodiment of America. That's the thing I miss about all this.
Bill Buttlicker for 100 krona or 100 something. Chris and Alan, what are your top 3 movies and shows till now since 2024? I don't know that I can answer that right now.
Yeah, have I seen enough to?
I'd say The Substance, one of my top. And in terms of TV show, Penguin. There, I can't give top 3, but Substance and Penguin. Alan, you.
Oh, you know, I'm gonna go back to Better Man. I know we keep pushing that, but
I like that movie too.
Yeah, it falls in really that kind of weird indie category where it's a hard film to find a niche for it. It's a niche unto itself.
Yep. All right, pivoting now here to another review. Alan, I saw the movie Dogman. Now, why did I see Dogman? Well, I saw Captain America Brave New World on Tuesday. I had tickets to see it again on Thursday, and I decided not to. That I would see a different superhero movie. So Dogman has been number 1 at the box office for the last week or so. Like, it's very surprising it's made so much money. So I canceled my Cap tickets, got tickets to Dogman. The theater, when I booked the tickets, was empty. And then when I sat down, there were 100 other people in the audience. I could not believe it. Kids and parents. It was insane. I couldn't believe how packed the theater was on a Thursday when another big movie was opening. And I thought, look, I'll check out this animated film. It's based on a book series. And Dogman's origin, oddly, is kind of like RoboCop. A dog and a policeman named Greg, who has his dog, they get in a car accident, and the dog's body is horribly injured. Greg's head is horribly injured, and they fuse the dog's head on the cop's body to become Dogman, whose rival is a cat. I'm not making this up. Okay, not making this up. Pete Davidson plays Petey the cat, who is the rival. Ricky Gervais is the voice of Flippy the fish, who's a robotic fish who comes to life and brings buildings to life in I'm not, no spoilers, but the second half of this movie is a battle between buildings that come alive. I kid you not, led by Flippy the fish, who is pure evil. I mean, all of this is ridiculous. And the animation style is sort of a mix of this step frame, like 12 frame per second, but kind of 3D, but kind of hand-drawn animation book style. And I was bored for the first half, but the build up, especially when Ricky Gervais as Flippy comes on, I got into it. And look, it's not for me. It's for younger kids. But between Ricky and the giant buildings and this sort of weird, like redemption arc for Petey the cat and his son, cloned son, along with Grandpa, played by Stephen Root, who plays the grandfather cat. All this is like, it reminds me of books I read as a kid that I was charmed by. You know, things like Where the Wild Things Are, or whatnot, like children's books that spur the imagination. So in the end, I kind of see how this movie has become a hit. There's I think as a parent, you have to be very careful about what kind of entertainment you expose your kids to. It was very fun. And by the end, it got me. I'm like, all right, it's fine. Look, will I see it again? Never. For me, it's like a 5 or a 6 out of 10, you know, but if you're a parent with a young child, your kids will love this movie. So I don't know. I can see, I agree. It's like, look, am I giving it a great review? No, I'm saying it didn't suck and kids will love it.
Okay, I need to understand what the appeal of this series is. What the appeal of Dogman is.
It's very simple-minded. It's there's bad guys, there's the good guy, there's a redemption arc, and there you go. And Ricky Gervais as the fish is actually worth it. So
that's Flippy the fish, yes.
Flippy the fish. There you go.
Right. Yeah, believe me, I could not drag my daughter to see this.
Yeah, she's too old.
Yeah.
This is single-digit age kids entertainment. Under 10 or 11. Beyond that, though, they're too cynical. They'll hate it. So, but I recommend it for that certain demographic. I can look, because I've raised 2 kids. I remember things like this and what worked, what didn't work. And I could see when my kids were of a certain age, them loving this. So there you go. Let's go to comments. Invariant 47, Dogman more heroic than Captain America? Yes. Yes. Tom Siebert, I had no idea that was Dogman's origin. That sounds like it might be funny. It literally, they repeat a scene right out of RoboCop.
Yeah.
It's kind of dark, actually.
Yeah. To me, that was the appeal. If I was going to watch it, it was because of that.
Yeah, Patrick O'Meara, it reinforces my belief that modern kids media is written by heavy drug users. Have you looked at like, older? Have you read Roald Dahl? I mean, James and the Giant Peach. I mean, come on. I mean, Roald Dahl is woo. Lord Comet for 2. Those are great books. As for me, I read Playboy. Yeah, like the books. It's based on a book series. It's very popular. So, all right.
They make movies based on Playboy too.
They did.
Next movie. Yes.
They did. We have a interview subject coming up, Bobby Hustle. But let's get to our next review. Let's get to Becoming Led Zeppelin. Put that up there. I'll do this. Here you go. I saw Becoming Led Zeppelin. Let me tell you if you are not a Led Zeppelin fan, you will probably not like this movie. Like any music documentary, if you're a fan of the band, you're going to love it. If you're not a fan, you may or may not be convinced. But when I was a kid of a certain age, like 13, 14, I discovered Led Zeppelin. Probably around the same time I discovered Girls. And I had every Led Zeppelin album. I went to sleep at night as a 14-year-old, 13-year-old in junior high with my headphones on, my record player behind my bed, had my headphones on, and I would listen to Zeppelin, Dazed and Confused, Stairway to Heaven. I mean, epic songs. They're unlike any rock band I knew of. And some of their albums, I mean, Presence, Led Zeppelin 1, 2, 3, 4, off into, you never knew what to expect out of this band. And this movie is an origin story of Led Zeppelin. And what I didn't know is that Jimmy Page was what they call a studio band who played on many other albums, including like James Bond songs, like Goldfinger. He played on that. So he was a studio player, would come in, just do a job. I'm here to play an instrument. Boom, off to work. And they were in a bunch of bands before each of these people, Robert Plant, Jimmy Page separately, and somehow were forming a new band. They wanted to evolve into something that had a new sound, something very different. So they call this Led Zeppelin Begins. Becoming Led Zeppelin makes sense. It's directed by Bernard McMahon. It is culled together from archival footage. And you see how Jimmy Page met John Paul Jones, and Robert Plant kind of came in at the end. He was the last member to join. Their rise from being the Yardbirds to becoming Led Zeppelin, and iconic performances. I saw this movie on a Wednesday in IMAX, sat very close to the screen, and the audience was so into it. I gotta say, I was at home. A lot of people my age and much older were rocking out to it. And I never saw Led Zeppelin in concert. I saw a lot of bands when I was a kid. I saw, look, I saw The Who. I saw The Police. I saw Prince. I grew up, in the 80s where I could see these bands. Never saw Led Zeppelin in concert. This movie is the closest thing I could get to seeing Zeppelin in concert, and I effing loved every minute. It's not for everybody. If you're not a Zeppelin fan, probably not going to be for you, but I ate it up and loved every minute. So, I can't if you're not a Zeppelin fan, I can't recommend it. If you're a music fan, maybe. But if you're a Zeppelin fan, you are going to eat this up. And I didn't know a lot about Zeppelin. There's so many. How many documentaries are there about the Beatles? Like a lot. And so I was happy to get to see this. I might go see it again just because it was just so fun. So there you go. A recommend, a definitely 10 out of 10 if you're a fan. If you're not a fan, don't bother. So overall, an 8 out of 10 for me. But,
Okay, so it has to be asked. Poster says experience it in IMAX. What was the IMAX like? Was it worth seeing in IMAX?
amazing. The archival footage, they showed stadium shows. They showed like kids at the concert, their concerts, like holding their ears. It was very funny. So yeah, I love it. IMAX, it was like going to a concert. So a recommend if you're a fan. Let's go to comments here. Andrew Cram gifted 5 Film Threat memberships. Thank you, Andrew. Appreciate you a lot. The Freaky Grunge for 2. Chris, thoughts on the film degree? Does it matter? I don't know what you mean, film degree. Getting a film degree does not matter. Your film degree should be listening to DVD commentary, watching behind the scenes, and making movies. You don't need one. If you look at people in the industry who succeeded, they'll be like half have film degrees and half did what I call the school of life. Doesn't matter. Go for it.
I'll give you one benefit of film school, and it's the network you develop while you're at film school. The movies you make for other people and the people who make movies for you. You guys, after you graduate, you guys will still be in touch. You will have this network. When one person succeeds, they're going to remember you and then bring you up. So that, I think, that across the board, everyone I've talked to who has ever gone to film school, that is the number one benefit they got out of film school.
The Chicago Box, rock out with my cock out. I agree. Hey, it's me in HD. Do they cover the Page's time with the Yardbirds? Yes. Krizik for 20 is a member. I only have one question. Do they answer or explain why they got their name, Led Zeppelin? They touch on it, but I don't know. I think that the movie Montage of Heck does a better job of explaining Nirvana than this. This movie is the cliff notes of the origin of Led Zeppelin. If you really want that, probably read a book. But in spite of that, I really like this film a lot. We'll probably see it again. All right. One last review before we get to our interview subject. Let's go to The Gorge. We'll talk about The Gorge. Okay. Let's get to it. The Gorge is, wait a sec. I don't hear you. Oh, Alan, what are you doing? Oh, no, I appreciate it.
There's a bus behind me, right? There's a bus behind me.
I appreciate you, Alan. I appreciate it. So let's talk about The Gorge, directed by Scott Derrickson, who did Doctor Strange. He did The Black Phone. He's a horror director, and The Gorge is a part horror movie, part action film, part romance. It's the simple story of two characters. It's really like, it's very small film in some ways, epic in others. Miles Teller plays Levi. He is a sharpshooter who is an assassin who is haunted by his profession, having killed hundreds of people, confirmed kills and unconfirmed. He is hired by a mysterious woman named Bartholomew, played by Sigourney Weaver, who sends him on a 1-year mission to guard a gorge. He will be set up at a station overlooking a gorge, and he must monitor the activity. If anything tries to leave the gorge, he is on orders to end it and kill whatever comes out of this gorge. He goes on this mission. He sets up at the station. The last person who was there warns him, they say it may be the gates of hell. We don't know what's down there. And then he is taken away. Levi is left of his own devices here on this kind of boring task to watch the gorge. Drasa, played by Anya Taylor-Joy, is on the east side of the gorge. Miles on the west. They have the same task: guard what's there. Drasa strikes up a relationship with Levi by saying, they communicate looking through telescope. And they kind of see each other. They form a relationship. This is the first third of the movie. I'm not going to go much beyond that with the story, but what happens is, and you'll see this is in the trailer, they are both end up venturing into what's in the gorge, which ends up becoming almost a Resident Evil like video game with horrors that I would describe as Lovecraftian in nature, horrific. And it goes from there. I'll say this, kind of obvious, the story, once you get into uncovering what's in the gorge and the origins of what is there is revealed. And it literally feels like a movie that was inspired by a video game, where each level you have to take care of this type of creature. Then we have this type of task and mission. This literally could be a video game in the way that that Levi and Drasa have to, encounter and defeat what is in the gorge, what is there. We have to dispense with this creature. Now it's that creature. I gotta say, actually, in spite of the fact that it's on Apple TV Plus, the thing that really sold it was Scott Derrickson. Scott Derrickson, I mean, the horrors are just really well done. Really well done. It is at times kind of dumb and like a video game. I give this a 6 or a 7 out of 10, but I can't deny I was entertained. I was really entertained. And Scott Derrickson elevates a really simple video game like story to a film worth checking out if you already have Apple TV Plus. You've also got Silo and Severance, so worth it. I did subscribe. I paid Apple TV Plus, so the next month I'll be able to see those series now. And I will say, entertaining, and you really do see the video game influences. And Miles and Anya Taylor-Joy are good. I like Anya Taylor-Joy. She's always liked her as an actress. So it's a recommend from me, but gets a mid rating, like a 6 or a 7, probably 6.5 at best. So there you go. The Gorge. The Gorge, worth checking out if you have Apple TV Plus. Let's go to your comments.
Hold on. Would I like this one?
No.
Okay.
It's horror. Seed. They're touching foreheads. Well, they do more than that in the movie. In the poster. How about mute yourself, Alan?
I know. I did. I thought they were done with that.
Mute yourself, please. Go to comments. Joe Chapman, the Gorge is lacking. Sorry, lacks enough love, lacks enough scares, lacks a 2 out of 5. Well, I like the horror. Razorburn, so kind of like Event Horizon. Exactly. Sunless Shadows, not gonna lie, this kind of had me interested. Big question, is it good? I wouldn't subscribe to Apple TV Plus just for this movie. If you already have it, then it works. I would just say, if you already have it, just watch it. I mean, it's fine. Lord comment for 2, remove the R from this movie and it would star CG. Yeah. Chris, you hate Cat 4, but admit you love the shield tin. What are you talking about? That is right there. That is a Captain America backpack I've had for years.
Yeah, did you see the Captain America?
I saw the tin. I was tempted.
Okay.
I'm going to wait until it's on sale next week. So there you go. All right. Time to say goodbye to Alan.
Yes. I have a plane to catch.
Alan has a plane to catch. I have an interview to do. Alan, final thoughts on your vacation. We'll see you on Monday on Versus.
I mean, ultimately, vacation is about family, and I had a great time with my family, especially my daughter. And I'll also say, saw Hobby Hustle, great film. Dives really deep into collectors, and just the stuff we do. And there's also an intrigue story in there that I love as well. So,
well, we're going to talk to the director very soon.
Yeah,
right here.
But yeah, I'll be back on Monday. I'm back on Monday. I'm back.
Well, I just want to repeat, I did not miss you at all.
Yeah, and neither did I.
Yeah,
So,
we did not miss each other.
I know.
We did miss each other.
Yeah, but we realize how much work we have to do when the other is not there.
It's weird. I realize that I have a newfound appreciation for Alan. I'm not gonna lie because because now I'm like, oh wow, with Alan gone, it's all on me. Like I miss Alan moments.
Hold on. China. Hold on. China. Hold on. China.
I'm glad you're back.
Now I'm glad I missed Glenn.
No man, I cannot believe you missed him.
What's going on here?
Hey,
what's happening?
Anyways, I'll see you Monday, my friend. Safe travels.
I will say thanks.
Yeah, and I don't know. You should say something.
Yeah. Let's get out of here.
All right. Take care.
Right,
See you later.
bye.
Get home safe. All right. See ya. All right. Hey, now it's time to talk to Michael Dault, the director of a film I can't wait to tell you about, Hobby Hustle. Let's look at the trailer. Let's talk to the director. And if you're a nerd, you are going to love this movie. Let's go. Hey, Michael. Good to meet you, Michael Dault, director of Hobby Hustle. How you doing?
Good, Chris. How you doing, man?
Oh, great. You have a great mic. You showed up early.
Hell
I
yeah.
appreciate that. It's all good,
Way
man.
too early.
Oh, love that. So, and look, I love to talk to filmmakers, especially directors of documentaries. I've made one myself. It's not like you have a butler. You're not when you are making a documentary, you're not thinking, hey, I'll make a lot of money on this movie. You have to have the passion. What was the inspiration and passion behind Hobby Hustle?
Well, it kind of started two ways. I shot a pilot. My company shot a pilot, and we shopped it around town. Nobody liked it. Nobody wanted it. So that was kind of that. I was like, okay, I kind of got mad, right? And I thought, okay, I want to make something I'm extremely passionate about, something that I'm going to live and die on my own sword. And at that time, COVID was like right around the corner. So collecting was huge. And I just got back into collecting after being not doing it for 5-6 years. And I thought, let me make a love letter to collecting. And then quickly I found out through talking with a lot of my contacts, there's a dark side to it, man. There's a big dark side to it. So I thought, let's transition this from being a love letter. It will still have love letter aspects of it, the heart to it, but I want to make it kind of a cautionary tale as well.
Well, also, the COVID pandemic did have an impact on the movie itself. Yep. Yeah, it's. I want to. First of all, we've got almost 2,000 people watching live. Please post your comments and questions for Michael. We'll get to your comments and questions, but I want to give you a taste of this movie. So, can we watch the trailer?
Hell yeah.
Let's do it. It's 2.5 minutes. Let's watch the trailer for Hobby Hustle.
If I wasn't selling forgeries out of my hotel room to cover my expenses, where does the money come from?
The FBI and Mahoney County prosecutors have broken what they say was a fake sports memorabilia racket.
It's all about money. Wherever there's a lot of money involved, there's a lot of fraud involved.
It's ultimately about greed. One will be graded a 7, and it looks exactly like the one that's a 9.
That's just absolutely devastating to the industry.
I say, let them be oblivious.
And it just went nuts.
Very different signatures coming back from the athletes.
In a scheme where prosecutors say he sold fake autographs.
It's like, that's not me.
Do I see a lot of women in this hobby? No, I don't.
Every attic in America is going to get cleaned out this weekend.
And it was legitimate business.
Him and I never actually ever talked about it.
We had 2 huge trailers, boxed up evidence that we had.
The Black Swamp find is, I would consider, one of the 2 greatest finds of in the sports collecting industry.
Pylons for end zones. We sold anything and everything. It was an addiction. They liked living the professional athlete type lifestyle without being a professional athlete.
We are going to continue to go after the scams.
300 autographs off the top of my head right now, but I'm one of the best, flat out.
Hey, good timing on doing this interview because the movie is streaming in a couple days. That's awesome.
Yeah.
Congratulations.
Yeah.
So you want to make a film about your passion, card collecting, right?
Yeah.
And then as you're doing it, you're uncovering all these scams and people going to jail and fraud. How did it spiral into a different kind of movie from what you originally wanted to do?
Yeah. Well, one of my a friend of mine, which I'm not going to say his name because I wanted him in the documentary, but he was kind of embarrassed of what happened to him. And this was the first time that something kind of signaled to me that something might be wrong. He had a big hockey collection. I mean, he had signed jerseys, he had cards, he had tons of stuff. And he decided, let's get it authenticated because he wants to put a value on it. Which is smart, which is really smart. So he got PSA and they came down and his whole collection was fake, like incredible fake. It was $200,000, by the way.
Oh my God.
So he basically threw up in his mouth and he said he stopped collecting. I mean and I started uncovering more stories. Suddenly I came across an article by Luke Wynn in Sports Illustrated. And it was about Operation Stolen Base, Cliff Panizich, who I feature in the documentary. And the light bulb came on. I said, this will be the perfect person to talk to about this. And then it just took off from there, Chris. It was one of those things where, got a hold of his mom. Him and I started talking, visited him in prison, and we just went. And I thought, okay, let's add more of this. But I didn't want to make it all negative either because it's something I love. It's something a lot of people love. And there's that quote in the trailer and it's in the movie, which kind of haunts me. Cliff Panizich, the guy behind Operation Stolen Base, he says, let them be oblivious. He was talking about the kids because he thought if the kids knew that some of the stuff they're buying is fake, they wouldn't want to do the hobby anymore. But I thought, well, that's kind of irresponsible. I feel like there's a way you can approach that, and we could talk all day about that. But I thought, okay, let me keep with this. Let me do a cautionary tale of that there is good, really good in the hobby, but there's also really bad. And it's kind of like the Red Riding Hood, right? The big bad wolf kind of effect.
I imagine a narrative feature doing a fictionalized version of your friend played by Liam Neeson.
Yes.
Who goes after I could see Liam Neeson going after people who make the fakes, but I mean, no, seriously, the intrigue in the documentary is just crazy what gets exposed, and I felt really bad for some of the people because they have such a passion. Look, I don't have any sports cards. I have one sports card. It's Flash Gordon, quarterback, New York Jets.
Oh yeah, Flash Gordon.
I have that card, but I do collect cards. I've got Batman 89 cards with the gum from 89. Like I do have collections of cards. I have wacky packages. I love wacky. I collected those when I was a kid. I rebought them as an adult. So this movie really spoke to me. What was in terms of access? How did you get people to be so like on camera, so blunt and get to them?
Yeah, there was a couple ways. I mean, getting to the people, a lot of it was through my networking. People I knew. I used to do sports journalism. I still write, for online publications, mostly baseball. I used to play pro ball a little bit. Didn't do very well. And I used some of those contacts, but mostly it's just me, for them to feel comfortable enough to come and talk about whether they had bad experience or good experiences. I'm a good salesman, even though I don't do sales in life, but I could get people, my passion's contagious. So I get, a lot of them, I pitched the hell out of them, and I told them it's a safe space to talk about it. And they did. And that's what happened with Cliff. I mean, because Cliff was in prison at the time, and he was on the redemption side of things. He wanted to transition after prison. He was looking at, at the time when we talked to him, he still had 2 years left on his 6-year sentence. So sitting down with him in prison, it was weird, right? Because he couldn't down the justice system. He had guards all around him. We had guards all around us when we were filming him. And they told us, it made it very clear he couldn't down the justice system. He couldn't, point fingers at who's to blame. So Cliff was really humble in prison. And then when we got him out of prison, you saw a different side of Cliff. You saw a different person. Let's put it that way. A different person. So I kind of left it up to everybody in the documentary, whether they thought he got redeemed or not.
I love your movie poster. Here it is on your personal website, michaeldault.com/hobby hustle, or just Google hobby hustle. It's out in 2 days, actually.
Yes. Super excited, man.
It comes out. I'll put that up later. We have a lot of questions from people.
Sure.
So I'd really like to get to their questions about this, but I love documentaries about collecting and passions. And this doc went places I never would have predicted. So insanity. So let's get to some of these questions. Aid Ellis 24. What are the biggest changes you've seen within the collecting community over the past decade, especially as card and shoe collecting have exploded in popularity?
A big one is online presence, online breaking. They call them online breakers. There's a lot of guys who will. Do you know what that means, Chris? Like when people. So basically, what they'll do is they'll go on these apps like Whatnot or YouTube or Facebook, anywhere, and they'll throw an auction for cards, and you buy a spot, right? And there's different ways to do it, but they'll buy a spot, they'll open the pack, and when I say buy a spot, say, there's like 30 some teams in baseball. So it's maybe $20 per team, and people will buy up those spots. And anytime you open a pack of cards and you start, like I have a pack of cards right here, and I start going through the cards, whatever team that is, that person who bought that spot gets that team. So what I've found out throughout the decade is online buying has become way bigger. I mean, it exploded since COVID. And it's been just rolling ever since. And I think it's even bigger. The hobby's bigger now. We're kind of in a golden age of collecting right now, not just with sports. I mean, with movie, pop culture. I mean, just collecting in general. Some that question said about shoes. Shoes are huge. I mean, what I've noticed is not only is there more information about it, which is great, which I love to hear, but two, there's access. You get way more access now. You don't have to go down to your local shop to buy a pack of cards anymore. You can get it anywhere. at any time.
We have a lot of questions here. Matthew Hammond for 2. Jason Statham needs to do another Beekeeper movie. Yeah, about cards.
Yeah, I like it.
Geek Truth 64. I really love documentaries, and this looks pretty interesting. Definitely going to check it out. I collected sports cards as a kid.
Thank
you need to see it because you have like where the dot goes, you will never predict. Caveat ties. OJ Simpson steal any of the forgeries at that hotel?
Possibly.
Aid Ellis 24. What are your thoughts on the 11-year-old collector turning down the Pittsburgh Pirates offer for 30 years of worth of perks for the Paul Skenes patch rookie card?
I love this question. Okay, so I have a podcast called Long Gone, and my co-host Steve Ford and I, we talked about it, and we presented that question, like what, because essentially what happened was he had this kid open a pack, got this 1 of 1. That means it's the only card ever made of Paul Skenes. He's a pitcher for the like a hot pitcher right now for the Pittsburgh Pirates. Gives the Pittsburgh Pirates fans hope. The Pittsburgh Pirates wanted to buy the card off of him, and instead of giving the kid money, they just offered him a bunch of perks. Oh, you can sit behind home plate. His girlfriend's Olivia Dunn, that gymnast. You could watch the game with her. It was just perks, right? But there was no money value. Well, the kid's smart, and the kid's parents were like, no, you can get a lot of money for this card.
Yeah.
And the Pittsburgh Pirates are known. I'm sorry if there's Pirates fans on here because I love the Pirates too, even though the Tigers are my favorite team. But they're known for being cheap. So the kid's like, no, I want money. They weren't going to give him money. So now he brought it to an auction house. And now they're going to auction the card, which is super smart on the kid. Because the card itself, Chris, I mean, Paul Skenes is really good right now, but that could be a 6-figure card within the next year or two.
Wow. Yeah. I'm a Tigers fan too. I'm from
let's
Detroit.
go. All right.
I'm Detroit.
Yes.
Let's go.
Me too.
Bush and Ryu Cat has a question. What is your most valuable collector item? Can be anything. And would you explore game collecting in the next film?
I have a couple buddies who do game collecting, and we actually did interview somebody who did game collecting. He collected old consoles and stuff. And absolutely. We have so much footage we cut out of the film. That's why it's so long. I mean, we had something that it could be a series, but it's hard pitching a series.
Right.
So basically, that we do. I would definitely explore that because I love gaming. But the most valuable collecting item I have, I would probably say, there's a few, but I'd say a Shohei Ohtani rookie card, and I have it signed. And that's a 1/1, and that card right now, I mean, that's going up. I mean, I looked, the last price is around $8,000.
Yeah, I couldn't believe when you get into the doc, the prices for some of these cards.
Oh man,
is insane.
It's
hundreds of thousands of dollars.
Yeah.
It is like buying a stock. It's crazy.
It really is, Chris.
It's nuts. And I got a quick question for myself.
Sure.
Will there be a Blu-ray, and will there be a collector card of the poster for the movie in the Blu-ray?
Oh my
as
God,
an extra.
Oh my God, you should be on the marketing team.
Yes, well, I like to do marketing. Yeah,
there will be a Blu-ray, and you know what? I'm gonna tell them about that. That's
put a card in there and sign
so
it.
Smart.
A couple signed, maybe some that have gold foil on it, whatever.
Even if it's a collector's item, right? Just kind of I like
rare
that.
versions of it in the
That's
Blu-ray.
such a smart idea.
I collect Blu-rays, so there you go. Sean Hu says, does this touch on other collectible card and related industries at all?
Yeah, because we talk about it.
It's in the doc, yeah.
Yeah, we talk about it, and even Cliff Panizich, the people he ran with, his cohorts, there were people that were signing movie posters, signing movie memorabilia that was totally fake. So yeah, there is an aspect of that in there.
Aid Ellis back with another question. Aid Ellis 24. With the advent of fake signatures continuing to grow within these circles, is there really any way to ever be certain what you're buying is authentic unless you saw it yourself? I mean, I'll say this. I've had very few things signed in my life.
Yeah.
When I do a signing, I ask for a picture of the item being signed. So I will always take a photo myself It's
Mm.
really just for me. I've never stole anything
Smart.
I've had signed. How do you respond to that?
Yeah, I mean, ADL is 24. I mean, to be brutally honest, if you look over my right shoulder, you see those little baseballs in that display case. I started collecting baseballs before the documentaries to have, they're signed baseballs. I won't collect anything unless I see somebody sign it anymore. I won't collect it online because you can see they have these things called certificates of authenticity. Those can be faked, as you've seen in the documentary.
Yeah.
Really no way of knowing. I mean, even PSA and JSA, who are known authenticators to the industry. I mean, they're sports authenticators. They've used Cliff signatures in the past. There's other people they've used other people fraudulent signatures. To me, that just soured me on it, man. I mean, that soured me on it. So unless I see something, I won't buy it if it's signed online. No, I got to see it.
Matthew Hammond for 2. He should market it on a true crime podcast. I mean, it really is. It's a weird thing where it's like, I love movies about, geek topics, and collecting is a big thing. So you've got that aspect, but it's true crime. It's also true crime.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. And it's just the dollar amount is insane too. One thing that makes this guy, Cliff Panasic, so interesting is he can literally think of any signature off the top of his head and mimic it, and you can't tell the difference between the real one and his. You just can't do it. I mean, the guy, it's a dubious gift, and it's people like that are really scary.
So we're gonna wrap it up there, but I want to remind people, Hobby Hustle is out on, is it VOD and everything? It's everything. Apple
Right
TV.
now it's going to be the Apple Plus. It's going to be on Apple TV, and then as well as Amazon. Yep.
Amazon.
And then I think a few months down the line, it will be out on other platforms as well. Your Tubies and hopefully your Hulu and Netflix. Yeah.
Go to michaeldault.com, link in the description for this episode, and just Google it and watch the movie in 2 days. Michael, thank you so much for joining us. This was awesome. And also, like, one last question, your production company, you make what do you have next?
Yeah, I have a couple things in the works, but because I write, I funded the film, the documentary off my books, basically, because I'm a writer. So I made a couple novels and I sold them, and then I kind of turned that money into the film. So with this, I think what I'm going to do, I'll probably do another documentary. It's a couple things, but one is about the state of the Upper Peninsula of Michigan. How every decade there's a push to make it its own state, and I always thought that was really interesting, and I want to see there's a lot that goes into that, so I'm kind of doing the early development work on that right now.
Well, Michigan is the big mitten, and then the finger. It was always like, that's a finger on
that nobody talks about.
Nobody talks about the finger. And as a Michigan person, you can point on your hand where you live. So there you go. Thank you for joining us today. Congrats on the documentary. I've seen it. It's well worth it. See it, buy it, and I'll wait for that Blu-ray, by the way.
Absolutely. I'm going to let you know about that. That is so cool. Yeah.
You can pack tons of extras on it. Please pack it.
Yes, absolutely, man.
Michael Dault, congratulations. Thank you so much for joining us. Take care.
Thanks, Chris. You too.
That will wrap it up for us today for Film Threat on a Friday. I want to thank our mods, Chicago Box, Lord Thoth. I want to thank Alan Ng at the bus stop at Disney World, traveling back home. Safe travels. Thank you to Atomic Lori and Glenn Nuccio. We are back on Monday with a new team to talk about Captain America, Brave New World. I'm very excited. The whole team, we're talking Monday. We will do spoilers. So we're back for Versus. Have a great weekend, everyone. I'm kind of exhausted, not gonna lie. A little exhausted. I don't have Alan here. Well, I do have Alan here in some form. I only have him here.
You sure you have some nice entertainment here? It would be a shame if someone took it away from you. Just saying.
I don't have Alan here to help me out with stuff like that. I don't have Alan here to say, let's get out of here.